Howdy. Hi, hi, hi. So I'm sharing today the 5 steps to live your truth. And this comes from years of working with people to live their purpose, um, and to live it effectively and in a way that feels meaningful and feels powerful. So I'm just sharing this while we're doing this so more people can join us. This is a huge topic, obviously needs to be shared. Oops. Stop. Hitting all the wrong buttons. And I want to share these 5 steps so you understand where you are in the process and what steps you might be missing, and also feel empowered to know what it's really going to take. And okay, done. And share to my page. Share now. Okay. So here's what I've discovered. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Alexis. I've been a strategist. I'm a strategist by training. Used to work for the US government. Now I do soul work, but soul strategy work. So high level alignment on what is your purpose, what is your soul's vision in the world, and how do you actually live it? Because most of us, we want the clarity, but the clarity doesn't actually help us take the action. And what we're really asking for is the action. So I want to share with you two main things. I want to share with you the 5 steps that it actually takes to live your truth, not only know your truth, but live your truth. And then second, a really awesome opportunity to do it with me, because I'm going to host a live version where we go through these 5 steps starting in January. And if you join sooner, like join in December, there's going to be some cool bonuses. So 2 main things. We're going to go through the 5 steps to live your truth. And 2, I'm going to tell you about if you want to do that with me in January and go through these steps with support. And support it's honestly non-negotiable, but not everybody believes that, and not everybody's ready for it, and not everybody's ready to actually live in a space of truth. But if you are, support is non-negotiable, and this is how you can get it, and it's going to be awesome. So what's the first step to living your truth? The first step, and again, I'm a strategist. I do this from a strategic planning perspective, and I have a system that gets you in touch with your soul's truth in the world. And the first step is to know what your soul's vision is. And your soul's vision is, somebody so beautifully today gave me language for it. They suggested, or the words they use to describe it, they're like, it's like your soul's vision is the nexus between your soul and the universal, and the universe, and the universal soul. In yogic terms, your soul's vision is the point, the meeting point between your individual consciousness and universal consciousness, right? It's how all of this majesty that is life and wonderfulness and beauty is coming into your unique way of being. So your soul's vision is about what is possible here on earth. And I have specific questions that get us clear on that. So that's step 1, is we got to get clear on your soul's vision. Why? Because that's what your soul's trying to create. That's what your soul is here trying to create. So that's kind of where we start. We start with, what's your soul up to? This is what your soul is up to. This is why your soul is different than mine. This is why your soul's going to make choices that are different than the choices I would make. It determines everything. Your soul's vision is like the movie playing out on the inside of your head that's determining how you view everything, how you perceive everything, the actions that you take, the feelings that you have, the things that you deem to be important, all of it. It's determining all of it. So your soul's vision, everything flows from your soul's vision. And it's where you connect also to the broader vision of love in the world that's being created through all of us. So your soul's vision is the most important step, and it's step 1. Sometimes it's not step 1. Sometimes we got to do a little bit of work in order to even get there. But for most of us, when it comes to living your truth, what are the 5 steps involved in living your truth? First, get clear on your soul's vision. Second, get clear on your purpose. And your purpose is related to your soul's vision, right? Your purpose is like the essential aspect of your soul's vision. It's what your unique soul is working on in life in order to create that vision. But see, there's a subtle difference there. The vision is, what is your soul creating in the world? And your purpose is, how are you working on creating it? What is the key point? What is the key moment of transition, the key moment of understanding, of expression, of ownership, of feeling that allows us to be in that soul's vision? And so your soul is working on that at the level of purpose. So that's the second part. Let me just take a sip of water here. So your purpose is about how your soul is growing in relation to your soul's vision, right? And it's going to determine all the things that you find meaningful. It's going to determine the type of work that's relevant to you. It's going to determine the type of connections that are important for you. It's going to determine the way that you want to interact with people, how you want to show up for people, how you want to represent yourself in the world. So big stuff, right? Your purpose is the core of you and how you choose to express yourself and who you are in the world. And your purpose is in service to your soul's bigger vision, right? It's in service to your soul's bigger vision. So both of them are very important. So those are the top two steps. First, your soul's vision, then your soul's purpose. And then we got to get real with the personality, right? We've got to talk about you, not your soul, but you. And this is where your soul and your personality start to meet up. So the first step, the soul's vision, is where our soul meets with the big universe, right? Our individual consciousness meets with the universal consciousness. Then we come down to my purpose, which is around like the soul, but mixed with me. And then we're going to mix more and more and more of me and my personality and my life and the specific aspects of who I am, along with what really feels meaningful for the soul. So the third step after vision, purpose, is your, what I call sort of your soul's beacons, right? These are, and I'm just looking down, this is what happiness feels like for your soul. What happiness feels like for your unique soul. Because when we have a vision, when we have a purpose, we're like, oh, that's all I need, except it's not all you need. Because most of us, when we say we want a purpose, are actually saying one of two things. Either I want a new job title, or I want to feel meaningful and fulfilled. And this is where we're getting to meaningful and fulfilled. Because feeling meaningful, feeling fulfilled and fulfillment, feeling on purpose are specific ways for your soul. Your soul is going to interpret meaning differently. Your soul is going to interpret fulfillment differently. So just knowing your purpose doesn't necessarily translate to understanding what feels meaningful and purposeful for you, because that's a feeling, not a concept. It's not a way, it's not who you are, it's how you move through the world, it's how you interpret. So this next step, so we've got vision, purpose, this next step around your soul's beacons, it's going to lay out what really are we talking about for your soul? What does happiness actually look like? What does happiness actually feel like? And I'm not talking about individual level. I always use the example of like, oh, I want a house in Malibu with a white picket fence. That's not what we're talking about. That's what your ego wants, right? We're talking about what does your soul want in order to feel happy? What is the ultimate happiness for your individual soul? Your individual soul. What feels meaningful? What feels fulfilling? What feels like contentment? What feels like joy? And once we have that, we can move to step 4, which is what are the actual activities and elements in our life that give us that feeling of fulfillment and meaning. So we've got vision, your soul's vision of the world, purpose, your unique purpose. 3, your soul's beacons. This is what happiness, meaning, fulfillment feel like for you. What does it actually look like? And 4, what are the activities? What are the elements? What are the pieces that have to be in place in order to give you those feelings of fulfillment and meaning and purpose? So you can see we're getting drilling down, right? We're drilling down. So we get those activities. And this is basically what equals joy for your soul. What's going to equal joy, right? So we're drilling down. And then the 5th piece, and we're going through these really quickly, but I want to give you the overlay. The 5th piece are the daily actions that bring you into that space of joy, right? So we've got vision, purpose, your soul's beacons of what meaning and fulfillment feel like. We've got your soul's happy place, right? Like what are the actual activities and elements that bring you that sense of fulfillment and meaning? And then 5th and probably most important, definitely most challenging, is living it on a daily basis. The daily actions that give you the opportunity to be in that space of joy, that give you, that bring you into that space of joy. And make sure that you're consistently feeding yourself on a soul level. Because most of us, even if we have this clarity, don't choose the things that bring our soul joy. That we don't choose the things that feed ourselves on the deepest level because our mind says they're not the things that are most important. Our mind is like, well, if I want to get from here to here, then I have to do this, this, and this, and I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. And then we get there and we don't feel happy, or we're miserable the whole time, and we're like, wait, I thought it was this thing over here was going to make me feel good. Two things are happening there. One, the end goal is not actually aligned to our personal sense of fulfillment. It's not aligned to our vision, our purpose, or our soul's beacons, the things that are going to make us feel meaningful and fulfilled. And then two, the action steps along the way are action steps that the mind, the ego chose because we think that's how we have to get. Well, we do think, we don't, not even quotes. We think that's what we have to do in order to earn or somehow be in alignment with this desire, this goal, but the whole thing is off the map because we haven't aligned it to the soul's vision. So the actions that we're taking are not the actions that feed the soul. So we might be getting results, we might be living a life, we might be taking action and having experiences, but they're not fulfilling or meaningful because they're not the actions that the soul understands and interprets as meaningful and fulfilling or joy-filled, right? So the biggest challenge that I see with people is not getting clear on all these steps. The first 4 steps we can get clear on. It's living it. It's making the choice to take the daily actions because they do not feel like the actions that we should be taking. In fact, they feel like actions that are only for our own pleasure, and how useless is that? Except when you want to live your purpose, guess what you're working on? Your own pleasure. You're working on your own soul alignment. And the way that your soul interprets the world, the way that your soul interprets meaning, the way that your soul finds fulfillment in life is unique to you. And you have to do those very things that give you that feeling in order to feel on purpose. Period. Period. You're allowed to do whatever you want. You have free will. You can do whatever you want in the whole wide world. I don't care. But if you want to feel on purpose, if you want to feel meaningful and fulfilled, then you've got to do the things that for your soul translate as meaning and fulfillment and joy. And that's what I'm talking about here is the 5 steps to living your truth. And I mean consciously living your truth. I mean deliberately living your truth. I mean, eyes wide open, I am choosing to live my truth. That is not an easy process. It's going to fly in the face of a lot of things that you think you should be doing, right? It's going to put you in a category of people like me who are a little bit on the outskirts, who are choosing to prioritize ways of being and choosing to prioritize activities that don't make sense to other people because we're literally marching by our own drum. Because you know what the drum is. So these 5 steps, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go through them again. These 5 steps are how you get that clarity. These 5 steps are how you understand your unique rhythm, your unique music, right? I'm just looking at my notes to see if there's anything I'm missing. They're how you build a life that feeds your soul. And they're how you build a life around what feeds your soul. And so if what you're missing is fulfillment, joy, a feeling of purpose, a feeling of importance, a feeling of I'm making an impact in a way that's meaningful to me, these are the 5 steps you've got to go through. And then you've got to live it. And then you've got to live it. So this is what I'm going to lead you through in January if you're ready for this. So I love this work. I love these 5 steps. I've been doing it for 5 years. 5, 5, 5. Here we go. I've been doing it for 5 years. And maybe even longer, actually, by next year, 6 years. And you know, I've worked with people individually, I've worked with people in groups, and it's time. It's time to do another group, and it's time to do this on a big scale. So what we're going to do is have a 6-week process. Ooh, gunky stuff in my computer. A 6-week process where I lead you through this live. So you have 3 things, really. You have the time to integrate it, because we'll do one at a time, 1 a week. You'll have the support of the group and other people in order to grow watching them. And it's easier, I feel like in this level of soul work, it's often easier to have aha moments when you're witnessing somebody else's story. Because when it's your story, we're really close to it. And so the mind gets in the way. The mind is like, doesn't work for me, but I'm special, but I've got this problem, but I've got this over here. And the mind is like, meh, I can't hear you. That's not going to work for me. And when we witness other people going through something similar, or other people having awakening moments, or other people struggling, it gives us a little bit of space and the space we need to have the aha moment in ourselves. So the first thing this program is going to do is give you the time to work with each one of these steps so you really get it. I'm not going to leave you out in the cold, right? Like I have a DIY program. You can go through this on your own, and you could pay $1,000 and I could go through it with you one-on-one in 2 hours. But what that does is leave you out in the cold, because you've got to now live it, and you haven't had time to integrate. You haven't had time to adjust to this level of soul clarity. And I've realized over the years that that doesn't actually serve anybody. Because for me, I'm like, no, you want clarity? Great, let's talk. 20 minutes later, 2 hours later, you're done. But it doesn't serve you because you're not able to hold that space. And you know, a basic yogic principle is enlightenment's available to anyone at any time, but that doesn't mean you can live there, because you don't have the capacity for it. So in January, we're going to do 6 weeks. We're going to do 6 weeks so we really integrate at each stage of this. So your soul's vision isn't just a concept, but it's like, oh, I'm now seeing it everywhere. I understand how I'm creating it all the time. I understand how my soul is continually communicating. So that your purpose isn't like, oh, okay, that's my purpose. No, it's like, oh, I see how my purpose is playing out in every interaction. I see how I brought my purpose into this relationship and this career and how I'm expressing it here, right? You're the beacons of what's meaningful and joyful. This is a tricky step for a lot of people. So we're going to spend time there so that by the time that 5 steps is over, we have that additional week to now live it and practice it and be with each other. So you're going to get the time. Second, and this is huge, you're going to get the group element. And that's because it's so much easier. It's so much easier to learn through story and metaphor than it is all the time to have it be direct for ourselves. So we learn by watching other people. We learn by seeing their awakening moments. We learn by seeing their struggles and realizing the answer that comes within us to support them. So the group is a huge piece of this. And I've found, especially in soul work, the group is necessary. Necessary. Because we're discovering new ways of being, new ways of thinking, and we need to normalize that. And we need to have a safe space to practice that. And we also need a space to awaken to that. So we've talked about the awakening element of realizing aha moments in relation to other people, but also in a group, you get the opportunity to experience yourself in a new way, to be seen in a new way as your soul's truth, right? So you're going to have a group of people who see you for your soul's truth and get to support you as you start to hold that more and more firmly and with more ownership and confidence. That's amazing. That is amazing, right? So even if your entire life is surrounded by people who are completely committed to being asleep, right? Completely committed to being asleep and not doing any type of soul level work, you now have a group of people who are committed to exactly what you're committed to, who support you, who understand you, who have the same language as you, who have the same experience and process as you, and you're not alone. You're not alone, and this is huge. It's huge, 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 huge in order to help you shift your way of being from I'm confused, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know how to make my way in the world, I don't know how to live my purpose, but I really want to, something's off, to I now understand how to deliberately create meaning and purpose in my life and how to bring my purpose into every aspect of what I do. Pretty big difference between those two people, right? And so to make that transition, the group is there for you. It's there to normalize and support you. And third, you're going to have my support. And this is really huge because what happens, and I see this, I've never not seen this, what happens is, and in years and years and years of doing this, is that we fight. We fight. We're like, yeah, but. Yeah, good for everybody else. I'm glad that's working for them, but I've got this issue. I've got this person in my life who is just dragging me down. I've got this financial situation. I've got this job thing. I've got this baggage and history. I've got this pain and trauma, right? We have a yeah, but. And the yeah, but is my specialty. I call myself a professional arguer for a living, right? My main focus and goal is to, there's not a great way to describe it. It's kind of like wrestling a bull. Like, I'll just corner you. I'll corner all your yeah buts until the only thing that you're sitting there with is your truth. And you're like, fine, fine, fine. I guess I'll live it. Fine, right? In a way that's safe, in a way that's so safe, so loving. Because I know that all the yeah buts are not true. They're not your truth. And when it comes to a process like living your truth, we're going to go really, really deep. And that means all of that is going to come up like, yeah, but I'm not worthy. It's not enough. What if it doesn't work? What if I'm somehow left out of I'm the only person in the world who doesn't have a purpose because God hates me? All of that's going to come up, as well as the drama of, I'm busy, but my kids are distracting me, but I can't do this right now, blah, 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 right? It's all going to come up. And I trust life. I trust life to give you exactly what you need. When you've committed to this kind of work, I trust life to give you exactly what you need in order to open the door to your own understanding of your truth so you can live it even more fully and more deeply. And we need somebody, and I say this from experience and with 100%, what's the word? It's not even confidence, like I know this to be the truth. We need somebody to remind us of that all the time when we're doing this work. So you're going to have me live for 6 weeks. So let's go over the 5 steps. You know why this group is so important. You know why this process is going to be so awesome. It's going to be amazing. And if you're interested, just drop an emoji below, any emoji, your favorite emoji, presumably not a dirty one. Don't flick me off in emojis, right? Like pop an emoji below and I'll send you the link to learn more and sign up. It's going to be awesome. We're going to start. I don't even have the details with me. I didn't write them down. Well, I wrote them down, but I don't have them on this piece of paper with me. But I think it's, hold on, let me look at the calendar. It's in January. We're going to start also as part of this group. By the way, you're going to get my DIY program so that after this live sequence of 6 weeks, you're going to be able to take yourself through the steps over and over and over again if you want to go deeper. We're going to go through it the whole time and you're going to get what you get and what you need out of it. But if at any point in the rest of your life that this course is available, you want to go deeper, you want to take it to the next level, you want to explore a nuance of your purpose or a nuance of your soul's vision and you want to do it again, you're going to have that course to take away with you. So the DIY section, every week you're going to get the pre-recorded videos, the step-by-step, the worksheets on a Friday. So we're going to start January 4th with that. And then on the Monday, we'll have the call. So on January 7th, we'll have the call. So our calls will start January 7th through February 11th. I think that's right. We'll have 6 weeks of calls. They're going to be live. And this is the most exciting part, we're going to do a 5-day warm-up. Because what I've noticed, and again, I've been doing this for a long time, is that when we go right in to the purpose, all of that stuff comes up because it's like jumping from living alone in a cave to all of a sudden like being the world's most popular person. And the nervous system is like, what? Because we go from, I don't know who I am, I'm confused, I'm stuck, blah, 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 to big soul expansion. And the nervous system really has a tough time staying there because we're not used to it. Our habits are practiced in a way of being small. And so I've created this sort of 5-step, like 5-day sort of warm up to let the nervous system start to unveil itself, to let ourselves get a little bit more comfortable being open and thinking about ourselves differently, feeling about ourselves differently. So then when we move into this massive expanded space of your soul's truth, and we're going to get there right away, day 1, it's easier to hold and it's easier to be there. So when you sign up early, you're going to get this 5 days and be able to go through that process and be prepared. You know, for people who sign up like January 1st or whatever it is, they're going to miss it. They're going to miss that 5 days. They're going to have to go right in cold and be like, look at this huge expansive space in my soul. How the heck do I stay here, right? And we're going to do that together over the 6 weeks. That's why it's 6 weeks long. But for those of you who joined early, you're going to get to warm up. So drop emoji. I'll send you the details about it. Behooves you to join sooner rather than later. Let's go over the 5 steps one more time. So the 5 steps to living your truth. And this is predicated on 2 things. 1, that you actually want to live your truth. You don't just want to know it, but you actually want to live in alignment with it every single day. And that takes a bit of work. And that's why there's 5 steps to this, because it's not as simple as just knowing the answer. Like, just tell me my purpose and then I'll know exactly how everything works out in life. That's a myth. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Having the clarity doesn't necessarily equal having aligned action on a daily basis or having the courage to choose the actions that actually fulfill and feel purposeful and meaningful for you. So these 5 steps get you to that place, right? They get you to the place of knowing your purpose, knowing why you're here, knowing what you're here to create, and also knowing how to choose it on a daily basis and why. why you would make one choice over another, right? Because I don't want to leave you out in the cold. I don't want to end the 6 weeks and have you have no clue how to make decisions on your own. I teach people to fish, right? So I'm not just giving you a fish, to use that popular, whatever it's called, story, example. So, you know, I want you to have a way that you can consistently go back to your own truth and understand how to make decisions and which decisions are going to be in alignment with your truth. That is the most important part for me, is that you know on a day-to-day basis what's going to bring you closer to feeling meaningful and in alignment with your purpose, and what might not be the choice that's going to bring you closer to living your vision and living your soul's purpose in the world in a way that feels meaningful and fulfilling. You're always living your purpose, right? So that's the main thing, is this is about living it. So if you truly want to live your calling, live your truth in the world, then these 5 steps apply to you. And it's also predicated on one other thing, which is that it takes courage. It takes courage. This takes a lot of courage, because choosing the things that are in alignment for you might mean that they're not the things you're told you should do. They're not the things that your mom does, your neighbor does, your spouse does, you've told your kids to do, right? It's going to challenge your assumptions and your habits. It's going to challenge what you think you know about the right way to do something. We're not talking about the right way. We're talking about your soul's fulfillment, living your truth. We're very different. It's right for you, right? But it's different. They're not the same thing. There is no ultimate right in this context, because we're only focused on you. So here are the 5 steps. If that is what you're willing, if that's what you're looking for, right? Actually living your truth, and actually living your truth, and being willing to stretch yourself beyond assumptions and stretch yourself beyond what you think you know about how to be happy and fulfilled in your soul. So here's the 5 steps again. 1, your soul's vision. And this is where we get clear on what your soul is bringing into the world, right? So if all of us are, if all of us humans are here to love and be loved, and that's the purpose of humanity writ large, why are you different than me, right? And your soul has a unique vision of what love and be loved looks like, and so does mine. So we get clear at the highest level, what is your soul's vision? What is your soul looking around in the world, seeing and assuming and trying to create? Step 2, your purpose. And your purpose is, excuse me, how your unique soul is working out getting to this vision, right? Because you're human. You have challenges, you have limitations, you have feelings, you have hurts, you have traumas, you have all this stuff, and your soul is working out how do we live in this vision? And it's working it out for everybody, but it's working it out in a unique way for you. So we're going to get clear on your purpose, your unique purpose. Hey, nice to see you. So your unique purpose. Then we're going to get clear on something I call your soul's beacons. And basically what this is how your soul interprets meaning, joy, and fulfillment. What does it actually look like? What does it actually mean for you? Because many of us are like, well, happiness is, you know, I have a new car, and it's like, no, your soul could care less. Your soul could care less about the sort of tangible aspects that we think equal joy, because your soul interprets joy and meaning and fulfillment on a totally different level. It's on an emotional level. So this stage, vision, purpose, your soul's beacons, is getting clear on what does fulfillment actually mean for your soul? What does happiness look like for your soul? This is big stuff, because once we know what happiness looks like for your soul, guess what we know how to do? Give it to it. We know how to create it. And this is the step that many of us skip. And I said in the beginning, I'm a strategist, and strategy connects action to vision, right? But there's a stage in between that most of us skip. So most of us are like, I want to be healthy, I'll go to the gym. What? Vision, tactic. There's this whole level that in military planning we call operational planning in the middle, where we connect those dots. And so that's why these 5 steps are so not only fundamental in order to living your truth and living your soul's vision of the world, they are so revolutionary compared to anything else you may have heard of before, because other people don't know how to do this. And this system is completely unique. It's born out of all my work in the government doing this type of vision-based planning. And it gives you the missing piece that you weren't getting before, which is why you may have done a ton of purpose work and a ton of soul work and still not be living in a space that feels joyful and truthful, because you're missing the step that connects the vision to the action. So this phase in the middle, we go vision, purpose, soul's beacons. What does happiness actually look like and feel like for you? What does fulfillment actually look like and feel like for your soul? And then from there, we get to your soul's happy place. Okay, so what are the actions and activities that then give us that? We know what it feels like and looks like, but what do we got to do to get there? Like, what are the kind of pieces that have to be in place in my life, in my career, in my relationships, in my hobbies, in order for them to translate into fulfillment and happiness? And then the last piece, and this is where most of us fall off the wagon. Okay, then what do I have to do today? What do I have to do today to step closer to my soul's vision? What do I have to do today to be living deliberately in alignment with my soul's purpose? The day-to-day actions, and this is where almost all of us fall off the boat, because we can go through all of those clarity steps and be like, yes, now I'm going to go over here because that's what I need to do, because that's what I was told that I need to do in order to get the things that I think that I want. What? No, we just drew the line right here. Why are we over here? Come over here, right? And that's why I want to offer you this 6-week program where you're in a group, and we're going to hammer that home so that you have the support you need to have the courage to choose the actions, the day-to-day actions that are in alignment with your soul. And they are not big things. You know, in your head, you're like, oh my God, that means I have to quit my job and leave and like shave my head and move to a cave and start meditating. And I probably have to leave my family and I'll never see my kids again. That's not what I mean. That's not a day-to-day action. That's like an extreme action, right? Day-to-day actions are things like dancing, reaching out to friends, choosing to realign my work priorities so that the things that are naturally fulfilling and meaningful for me, I get to spend more time on, right? So they're not as intense and scary as you think, but they still take courage to choose. They still take courage to choose to do, mostly because they seem so irrelevant and unimportant. But your soul doesn't care about what you think is important. Your soul knows what is important on its scale of fulfillment and meaning. And when you can connect with what those tests are, you can ignore them all you want, but you're just not going to get where you want to go. So if you want to live your truth, we're going to get really clear on what are the day-to-day things that help you take the action that feels fulfilling, that fulfills your purpose, that creates your soul's vision, right? We're going up the chain, but we got to go down the chain to get the actions, and then we go up the chain to live it. It's going to be beautiful. I've been doing this for years, and I am so excited to do it again. So it's going to be 6 weeks. We're starting in January. We're starting January 4th, but the first call is January 7th. But you're going to get all this material in 2 different forms. You're going to get it live from me on a call where we can talk and interact and ask questions and go through your specific purpose so that you actually get what we're doing. It's not just like another thing that you have to learn sort of by osmosis and don't get. Like, no, you're going to be live with me, and we're going to work on it together. Because I understand this stuff is hard, and I'm going to ask you to think at a level that you never thought before, and I'm going to challenge you to sort of get out of the mind and into the space of the soul, which is a different realm to be in, and most of us don't know how to stay there. We don't know how to be comfortable there, and we certainly don't know how to get ourselves there. So you're going to be live with me so we can get there. But you're also going to get the pre-recorded version of it so that you've got it. Once you've gone through it with me, you've got it for the rest of your life. And it can sort of warm you up a little bit. So you'll get the pre-recorded stuff on the Friday. We'll do the live calls on a Monday. Best of both worlds. But before this whole 6-week process, there's going to be a 5-day warm-up. A 5-day warm-up where we start to stretch the nervous system to be able to stay in the space of the soul, to be able to stay in that space of expansive, oh, this is who I am. Instead of, I don't know who I am, I don't know what I want, life is miserable, it's not working out, why aren't I happy, blah, blah, blah. It's very hard to go from here to here without extreme whiplash. So we're going to do a 5-day warm-up where we open up. But that's only going to be available for people who join. I think, like I said, I don't have it written on this piece of paper, but I think I said December 13th. I got to look at those dates. But basically, emoji me if you're interested in this. Emoji me if you're ready to live your truth. Just pop an emoji below. Please, not an obscene one. And I'll send you the details on it, which has the dates and which has the prices. It's really, really low price. If you know me, you know I've switched to donation-based services. My goal right now is to be in just an incredible space of service and to share this with as many people as possible, because it pains me to see people struggle. It pains me to see people not understand how to connect the dots between that truth that they can feel within themselves of their greatness and their expansiveness and the beauty that is life, and the struggle that we're in on a day-to-day basis. That gap is a gap that I know uniquely how to fill using these 5 steps and this process. I call it the soul system. That's a gap that I know how to fill. And so when I see that gap and I see people struggling with, like, I know that I'm everything and yet I feel like nothing, it breaks my heart. And I've been there, and I spend a lot of time there, and I spend a lot of time swinging between, because that's my job here, right? Is to understand that with such depth and such visceral experience, that I can reach people in that space, and I can help you through that space, because I get it and I've been there, and we've got this tool and the tool works. And beyond all of that, I get it and I get you, and I know how to help you get out of it, right? And get to a place where you are living in a space of joy and truth in your world. And you can ask anybody who's worked with me for a while, the end result is like, oh, I just feel like me. Well, that's awesome. I feel great. You know, like, we still have life. Life still has struggles. It's not that all of a sudden we're living and like in a perfect rainbow unicorn happy world. Like, life is still life, but all of a sudden we feel good about ourselves. We feel centered. We know how to find that space within ourselves. We know how to steady ourselves. We know how to make decisions about things that are right for us or not right for us. We know how to feed ourselves on a deep level, so that we can create meaning and fulfillment, and that feeling like, I made the impact I want to make. I matter here. I have meaningful relationships. So true, all this. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Shannon says it's so true. All this, I've done it, and it's life expanding. And that's the word. It's life expanding. It's expanding you into your already truth. It's just right now we're only living a little bit of it, because we don't know how to hold on to the expanse of it. So this is about expanding your mental understanding of who you are, so that you can then expand into who you are, because your soul is just, it's already huge. Your soul is already there. And our minds are like, I don't know. I'm not sure. How do I get there? But the soul knows. And so we're going to pull that up to the level of consciousness, so that you know how to deliberately choose. You know how to bring the mind and the heart and the soul together, so you can deliberately choose to be in that space of truth, to be in that space of expansiveness, to be in that space of joy. And it just feels good. At the end of the day, it just feels good. Plus, on top of all that, you're going to have a really cool group of people who support you and who see you for that already, and who help you have the courage to choose it. So, Susan, you just joined. I am logging off. I hope you watched the replay, though. So these are 5 steps. Emoji me to join, and I'll send you the info.